right, it is 6:30 p.m. on December 18th. I'm going to call the meeting of the River Plantation Board of Directors to order. First item on the agenda is the minutes, to approve the minutes of the meeting of the Board of Directors from the November 20th meeting. Anybody have any corrections, questions? No? Okay. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes? To approve
motion, we approve the minutes of the last meeting.
Okay. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, number 2, receive comments from the public. Okay, Gary Zoet. Okay.
Just, my question is basically about the drainage and the work that's going on, and I'm just curious how that works. I've seen, man, they dug up over there and they dug up over there, by there, and they dug up behind my house, which I'm really happy to see, but I'm curious what's happening over there. There's a culvert back, I'm on Monitor Park, there's a culvert back there that, where all the water goes in the drain, and when that doesn't drain, water rises and it usually ends up in my house.
Okay.
But part of that question is, they've got, where the culvert is, they've got a pipe, you know, about this big that's coming out of there, I guess, to go down to the next one.
Okay.
But I'm not clear, like, what does that connect to? Because they haven't dug anything up there. I don't know if they have some way to shoot through there underground without messing anything up or what, but that's the biggest part of my question is the drainage, because we've lived here a long time, and we've had water in our house a few times, and I'm just seeing if there's any hope on the horizon for.
We're trying. But you have our engineer sitting right in front of you. So.
Okay.
I'll have to look at the specific area to see,
Okay.
Look at the plans. If I can get your number, would you mind, I'd give you a call tomorrow.
That's
I can kind
fine.
of talk to you through.
My name is Gary.
Gary.
Z-O-E-T.
Okay.
713-503-4486.
That it?
One more thing. And just to let everybody know, so they're replacing any sort of failed infrastructure that we've seen. I don't know specifically on your example what it was, but typically there's collapsed pipes.
Well, I think that's what it is, because down, there's a kind of a easement kind of there, but there's a ditch that I understand that saved from more flooding in the past. But as it goes this way towards where C used to be, there's been sinkholes there, so it's got to be collapsed pipes and stuff, and I'm not seeing anything happening there.
That's all still planned to do. You know, they took a little bit of a hiatus with the holidays coming around, but we'll get kicked back up during
Hey, I was excited just to see if they were in that corner.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, something's happening.
Yeah, so
that's my main.
We're working on all that. Yeah, absolutely. But I'll give you a call tomorrow. We can talk to you a little more.
What's your name?
Taylor Reed.
Taylor.
Yes.
You ready? Yeah. Okay. Frank Jorgensen. No, that's not how you say it.
Frank's time.
I'm sorry.
Just observation for the board members. You're probably not aware of the MOC. There was an operator or meter reader issue. Has that been brought up by anyone? And why I mentioned it is our bill, apparently June, July, and August, like I was watching that, and actually because of the drought, expecting it to be much higher than it was. So then, not this last bill, but the bill prior to that, it went up, and it was an additional $100. But on the website, the MOC website, it showed our payment, and then it showed like it was removed. So, and the money was there, they got paid, it came out of our account. Okay, so
like the bill was removed?
There was a term, and I should have done a screenshot, but I didn't. So
I think that's what we talked about.
Okay, so deferred or something is the term that was used on it. So when I called the first person I talked to, and this is after an inordinate amount of time actually, I'm very patient on the phone, talked to, told me basically that the meter reader was no longer with them and hadn't read the meters. But I'd heard somebody on another section, I'm in 5, section 1, this had happened to, and basically they demanded the full amount, but they couldn't tell me exactly why I was being billed more money. It was verbal. And I asked for something in writing. I said, well, that sounds all great, but if you can't give me something in writing, I'm just going by what you're telling me, I give you the money, then you're gonna come back next month and whatever. So she told me on the phone, basically I had to pay her or they'd shut the water off. So I said, excuse me, and so I asked to talk to a supervisor, I did, but this was a 2-hour-long ordeal. And I'm just bringing it up because, yeah, it sounds like no big deal, but this is upsetting to people in the community. Because at first, there really was no explanation and it was all verbal. And so the supervisor said she was having the individual send an email, which she did, but I had to go through great lengths. So just, has this been brought up?
We've kind of discussed it, kind of off the cuff, but yeah.
So I'm Keith Durant, I work for municipal operations.
I can add to that. Our experience was for June, I think for June and July usage, we had 0 gallons. Then they played catch-up third month, which threw us over 60,000 gallons, obviously the higher rate. My experience was I was able to talk to them, do the research, and they applied, backdated everything back to where you equal out over the
I think
three
they did
time
what's called, is it rebalancing, is that what you call it?
Split bill
Split,
essentially.
yeah, they went back and they figured out what your average usage was and did it based on that.
Well, the part that I left out, trying to be more succinct about this, was approximately 2 to 3 weeks prior to that, an MOC truck pulled up at the end of our driveway, and the gentleman got out with the pink tag. And I thought, well, there must be another pipe break, because we're having a boil water notice, right? So I was on business call on my phone, I went out and talked to and he said, well, we had called about our meter. And I hadn't called or said anything. So I said no, and then I called and talked to the representative with MOC on that day, weeks before, and he said no, our usage was fine, so on and so forth. So, you know, that was why when I got the bill, there was like more to it besides that. You know, personal experience, and then when I called, the guy in the field was not communicating with the guy in the office, and then they got together.
Yeah.
There's your guys.
I can get with you after the meeting, get your address. I'm happy to look at your account and I can follow up with you. I'll tell you, one, you know, you had made the comment, you know, it not a big deal. I want to stress it's a very big deal. Meter reading is, when that gets out of whack, there's an infinite number of dominoes that fall. And so it's a very pivotal task that we're charged with, and it must be done. And it must be done right. So I don't ever want to downplay that we don't take it seriously. I mean, I also recognize that meter reading, we're in your pocket, right? We're directly affecting dollars bills, and so it needs to be right.
Well, my concern was that we had a leak that we weren't aware of because our usage had gone down. But then when I talked to the individual in the office, when the gentleman, the field man, was there with the pink tag, when I talked to the individual who looked at our account, he said, no, I said, yes, we normally go up higher in the summer because of the drought and we do our watering. I said, but now it should be down. I said, is it down? Because I have no idea, right? And he said, yes, it's back down to normal. So that was really what alarmed me at first is, hey, do I have a broken pipe I'm not even aware of, and I've got tens or hundreds of thousands of gallons of water, right, that I need to be aware of. So I'm good. But I'm just bringing it up, you know, it got resolved, but it was kind of a, you know.
Yeah, and just, you know, not to be long-winded, but just to provide some explanation. Meter reading, it's a task that we do in-house. We don't sub it out. They're MOC employees, 1, 2. You know, many years ago. I mean, it's not a pleasant job, and that's kind of entry level for us. Many years ago, we would send them out with a paper meter book. We would provide your address, the serial number from your meter. We would provide last month's ending read, and we would provide your average consumption. And that was really intended to be a tool to the meter reader, so that he could, you know, if he goes and reads your meter and then all of a sudden that's a really high consumption, that he could try to investigate or diagnose an issue. What we also found was that provided them all of the tools necessary to be able to estimate consumption. And so that's went away forever ago, long before our time here in River Plantation. They've transitioned now to meter reading on their phone, so it's through a software on their cell phone. Again, the intent there was all of that was stripped away, so when they go out to read a meter, they see an address and a serial number. They don't see an ending read, they don't see average consumption. And so again, that was in an effort to ensure that we kind of forced their hand to be in every box every month and to read every meter. There was a change in some software, kind of unbeknownst to us, and I think in ways unbeknownst even to the software folks, that unraveled some of those safeguards, right? And it didn't provide them that information, but what it did provide, which we learned after the fact, was it provided them essentially an infinite number of entries. So they could sit at your address and they could key in as many times as they want what they think that read is. And hard.
Spend more time doing that.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, we're paying the guys to do a job, and honestly,
Well,
they're
I learned something from the city of Houston just recently, is that because I used to live in the city of Houston, and we had a surcharge for the digital meters, and that was supposed to eliminate all this. The problem with those, I just found out, is they have a life expectancy of less than 10 years. So, so I get it. So, we'll talk after.
Sure.
I'm fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
Keith, do they ever do an estimate, or these are actual numbers?
Yes, I mean, the intent is that every meter is read every month, that there is no estimation. I mean, there's really no reason that they would estimate consumption.
Okay. What about the blue arrow? Is that just pinpointing where our meter is, or what?
Yes, I mean, it's either to notate the location of a meter box or potentially a valve. But yes.
Well, because ours is only 3 years old, so we didn't know if they were planning on changing it or what.
No, ma'am.
So, okay.
We good? Okay. D.
Yes, I'm just questioning, did we ever find out anything more on the bushes? And the reason that my concern is, I talked to 3 different people. The first guy told me they had to go 2 feet out from the fence. The boss told me they had to go 3 feet out from the fence. Then the other guy I talked to said only 6 inches out from the fence. So what are we doing?
That was a contractor, right? Did you talk to anybody from MOC?
I talked to Keith.
No, okay.
I went out there today, and I think it's like 3 feet from the fence.
Yeah.
And they were cleaning, and they did a lot of debris clean, but left it there. Are they gonna leave that there, or are they gonna pick that up? It's gonna be picked up?
It's gonna be picked up.
Okay.
We got a phone call, we just shut it down until we came to an agreement.
And when I was out there today, I noticed there's a leak on one of those, when you walk in that gate, there's a leak right there. It's
Yeah,
looking pretty good. So what underneath there, are y'all aware of that?
Yes, ma'am. And we're waiting for the part, they should come in today, we're trying to get it fixed before this inspection on Thursday.
Okay, so what's the deal?
Yeah, so, as was discussed with you over the weekend and also again today, and had a brief conversation with Julie as well. So there's, in chapter 290 of the regs essentially from the state that we're kind of pulled to abide to in regards to the operations and maintenance of a water plant. In the eyes of the TCEQ, there's a specific chapter that references housekeeping, and as I told you on the phone,
Yeah, I couldn't find that on TCEQ.
yeah, and I will show you
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Just give me the code and I
Yeah,
can check it out.
I can email you the chapter that the state referenced. And being completely candid with you, I mean, that chapter does not reference specific, a 3-foot buffer, a 2-foot buffer, anything else. It references housekeeping, and kind of, it's very general. However, we've had a handful of recent inspections within this year where the TCEQ has cited that specific chapter, and they have cited any sort of growth around the fence of the facility. And so in an effort to ensure that facilities are in good standing and that when the TCEQ shows up later this week that we get a clean bill of health and that they're happy, that's the reason that we've been clearing that buffer.
Okay, so you're looking at 3 feet then,
I mean,
or what?
I think, again, the reg's not gonna tell us that we have to have 3 foot of buffer. I think, if we had 2 foot, 3 foot of buffer, I think that,
Well, I'm going for the 6 inches.
Sure.
But here's what it said, here, can I read her? Because I'm assuming you didn't send this to her,
I
or
did
you
not.
did?
I did not.
Okay. It says, removal of vegetation from the fence along the eastern, southeastern edge of the fence line. And this was somewhere else.
Yeah, so that's.
They don't want any vegetation by the fence.
So that's an exit.
What's the eastern and southeastern?
Well, that's on a different.
That's from another
It's
facility.
from
I just,
another thing.
I just sent a exit interview form from a recent TCEQ inspection of another water plant, where again, they've referenced this same chapter in the 290 code, and they referenced this,
Yeah.
you know, us having to provide documentation that that vegetation was removed in order to satisfy the state.
Okay, and the reason they want it removed is why?
It said, somewhere on here, it said, what did it said, varmints,
Yes.
something else, hang on. It says maintenance and housekeeping. The maintenance and housekeeping practices used by a public water system shall ensure the good working condition and general appearance of the system's facilities and equipment. This is right from the code. The grounds and facilities shall be maintained in a manner so as to minimize the possibility of the harboring of rodents, insects, and other disease vectors, and in such a way as to prevent other conditions that might cause a contamination of the water.
Well, the thing is, you clear it out, and anything can crawl under the fence. You know, when it was roots and stuff, they would have a hard time getting through that. And what the heck, spray? You have an exterminator, just spray over there, and it ought to keep quite a bit out. I mean,
It's a lot more trouble and money to respond to a notice of violation than to just fix it.
Oh, they charge you?
And not only that, but you then have to send photographs, because I'm sitting here looking at the thing he sent me. You have to send photographic evidence that you did whatever they told you to do.
Okay, now, but we're still gonna have some bushes there, some shrubs, aren't we? They're not taking everything out, are they?
3 feet.
A 36-inch width would allow a mower to go around the fence
Yeah.
entirely
To
and
mow.
maintain it.
And that would probably wipe out everything. Yeah.
It's about 3 foot
I'll
now.
just add, it is a common citation and an issue that a number of our clients have to address regularly.
That it?
Well, I guess so.
Yes,
I have a question. You said, talked about TCEQ inspection.
right.
The collection box on Charleston, do they inspect that? Has anybody been out there to look at it?
Which
talking
one are you
about-
talking about? The one by the new house that was built? No. Which
No,
one
I'm
are
talking
you
about where the new storm drain was put in, replaced, that feeds into River Plantation Drive.
Oh, the big junction?
Yeah, a big
Open
junction box, that's right.
No, the TCEQ
Is
is
any-
not.
They don't go
It's
look at
not
that?
water, drinking water.
Because now you've got a tree in there about 15 feet high, growing in the base of that thing. Y'all need to go out there and look at it, and it's not the way it was kept when the golf course owned it. It was clean, and now you have vegetation growing there, you have debris at the
On
bottom.
Charleston?
It's in Charleston Park.
The
Oh,
concrete?
in Charleston Park, not the golf course.
No, not, it's
Okay.
on it was on what was called the golf course. But if you drive the golf cart drive, you'll see it there. Don't you know where you'll put in the storm drain?
What number are you talking about on Charleston?
I don't know the
Talking
number.
about the Charleston Park, he's talking about the one by
The junction box there
By the
on,
new
He's
house, right around the
Okay.
corner, there's a dip in there, that's what he's talking about right there.
no, it's a junction box too, where you've got, probably 3 drains coming,
Where the
3
orange fencing-
feeding into the big sewer going out across the street.
It's where that orange fencing is.
Yeah.
So I just spent a lot of money putting in that 4-foot, 5-foot storm drain there, and you should be able, and it's where there's a big pile of dirt too that's still sitting there.
It was
on the golf
moved.
course.
It was
It was
moved today.
Okay, I haven't seen it today, but then, so you know where the location, you look
I
at
do
it.
know, yeah.
It'd be covered with, if you look at it now, you may say, well, I don't see it, well, it's because it's got all this vegetation growing in it. And I've mentioned it now for about 4 years, 3 years, and nothing's happened to it.
We need to include that on probably our ongoing mowing and stuff like that.
For all seasons.
For all seasons, just have them, because we're gonna put a fence around it as well.
Yeah.
We'll have an access gate, but they can go down in there and just do a weed eating on it.
Well, like I say, you got a tree in there now, so.
But they may need a chainsaw.
Yeah. Yeah, tell
Okay,
me
Thank
what
you.
you want.
Appreciate it.
I've got a question back on the bushes. They use a weed eater, can't they just use a weed eater? I don't think they can get a mower in there, then what do? They get to an end and they just back all the way out? I mean, it just seems like.
Oh, you can't drive into that, you can't drive into it, it's too steep.
Are you talking about well number 3 now?
Yeah, that's the only one I'm talking about.
They have push mowers and riding
Yeah,
mowers
it could be-
and weed
It could
eaters.
be any combination of, handwork, whatever, I mean, but at the end of the day, ultimately, and I know you don't like it, and I don't wanna be insensitive to that, but in the state's eyes, whenever they show up at the inspection, if we have a clean, clear fence line, that's what's proven to be an issue, at least here in the last year.
Okay, but
in the state's eyes.
okay, but I guess my thing is just how wide or whatever is that supposed to be according to TCEQ? Because here I'm getting 3 different numbers.
They don't tell you,
There's no number.
there's no number.
Well, I mean, if it's walkable and it's clear.
It doesn't say, I just
I
read
mean,
you the
would that
code
work?
section.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know,
I mean,
would that work?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, I think if it was a 2 foot, 3 foot,
Well, 3 foot.
Buffer, I
2
think.
foot at least, I mean, they can walk through there, it's clear. So, I mean, it just, because at least maybe some of those bushes, because they are rooted in there for so long, may at least still grow. And there would be some growth out of that line.
All right, any other comments from the public? Okay, what I would,
No, everybody said no.
yeah, okay. Those of you that didn't sign in, if you would sign in before you leave, I'd appreciate it. So, all right, next item on the agenda is the financial and bookkeeping matters. Bookkeeper's report, any questions on the bookkeeper's report?
I think
I got
a
a
question,
question.
yeah, just on the energy. So is that, our bill was 4,900, $4,960. Is that normal? I mean,
It's usually in the 3,000 to 4,000.
just seemed like it was a lot for this one time, and you've answered the other 2 questions I had.
I
And,
noticed something that was missing. We haven't gotten an invoice now for 2 months from Paul.
yeah, that's that.
Oh, he's gonna be on later,
Okay.
so we'll ask him right now.
I'm just worried that we're gonna get like this big balloon bill. And it's gonna, it affects the budget, so.
So he only attends when there's litigation or we have lawsuits, and so he's
And for
We don't
update
have
and stuff like that.
updates.
Yep. Or if he needs to be here like for citations or whatever.
Okay, so if we don't have anything like that, then
Right.
he hasn't billed us, so does
Right.
that mean
No.
there's not gonna be a bill? or-
No, because he's been working on the TACA's thing and stuff like that, so. All right, any other questions?
No.
Okay. Tax assessor collector's report. Any questions, comments, starting gradually to get money in? Okay. Review of the investments, same thing, earning interest, we're just gonna approve them all at the same time.
Yeah,
Do it one time.
that's what I've seen.
Yeah.
It's almost 5.8 or something like
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so, okay.
That's good, and the payment?
Payment of the district's
Wish
bills.
I could get that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Payments of the district bills were okay?
Mhm.
Okay. I did wanna make one comment. I know last month, J&K Trees, you approved $4,000. When they were taking down those trees, they found another one that was hanging over another house further down. And so I just told them to take it down, cause it was,
5,000 or something.
yeah, it was like $750 to take that other tree down, and instead of waiting another month, I'd much rather get it down than have it fall in that month. So, I just wanted to let y'all know.
So, on one of the questions and I don't know, who did we pay to take the building down and the restrooms?
SOE construction.
SOA.
So they still have that green dumpster that's
Are
out
they
there?
done?
They took it out.
They took
They
it out
removed
today?
already, yes.
Okay, so after today, it's
A
still
lot of
there.
things happened today. They even buried that,
They,
that white PVC that was laying along
They did a really good job.
Yes, they did.
And some of those trees back there were this big around, so it couldn't have been just, you know, weed eater or anything. They did a real good job.
Yeah, I went by and took pictures before the meeting, so I'll show you.
Okay.
If you haven't gone by there and taken a look at it.
I haven't gone by
I'll show
today.
you some pretty good
so.
pictures.
Yeah, it looks real good.
Cool.
So,
Okay.
do we need a motion?
Yep.
I make a motion, we accept the financial and bookkeeping reports.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, number 4, bookkeeper's contract and proposal for services. We have Tiffany here with us. I got a quote from Tiffany and I sent it to y'all. Hopefully y'all looked at it. I will tell you, I did get an email from Carol last week after, I'm assuming she got a copy of the agenda, wanting to touch base with me, but I have yet to hear from her. So, anyway, so.
I have a spiel if you'd like it.
Go for it.
My name is Tiffany. I've been in the industry now for almost 10 years. My business partner is Deborah Loggins, also my mom. She's been in it for about 30 years. We love what we do. We're good at what we do. We come in and I've got copies of things for you guys as well. I also brought copies of sample bookkeeping reports. I take great pride in my reports. They are easy to read. We don't have graphs, but they are easy to read.
We're
so.
good.
We don't need
graphs.
We don't need fluff.
We don't
Okay,
need
I
color
don't do the
either.
fluff, I don't do the color, and it's pretty straightforward, it's black and white, so, this is our proposal at the very bottom of the page, this is what we got for our numbers. I did go through y'all's full this past year, I looked back prior to your contract change with them. We've taken on more than 15 different districts from MAC in this year, so, I know the conversion very well. I actually do all of the conversions in my office. I do all of the audits in my office as well. So I know what we're getting beforehand. I know what we're getting into. I know you guys are a 930 year end, so there's a small conversion there. We don't charge for a conversion fee. We also don't charge hourly. So that's something that I also like to hit on. This is a flat rate. Your bill is not a surprise bill. You know pretty much every single month that you're going to be paying, with the exception of maybe a couple dollars here and there, and that's like postage and your copies. If we have to do a delivery fee or pick something up, that's separate. This is also including attending your meetings for 1 hour. We're pretty lenient on that as well, so if something goes over 15 minutes, I'm not going to bill you for that. So if y'all have extra questions or something, but this is including coming to your meetings. There's not an additional fee for it being a late meeting. It's pretty straightforward there. I did notice, you know, you guys, I think you guys are used to, I know that you guys are used to seeing, like your budget is a separate line item, this is included. Your investment report, this is included. Everything's included. One, it's easier for us. So to be quite frank, I don't want to have to go with all that. It's all one easy bill, straightforward, and it's easier for you guys budgeting wise.
So you did say you would be attending every meeting in person?
This is your regularly scheduled meeting, so I know you guys change your meeting dates, that's fine, but if you
Not
had
usually, but, I mean, we try not to.
No, blessing, no worries.
Ours just all fall on holidays.
So,
Thanksgiving,
for
Christmas.
the checks, you bring the checks and
I
we
bring
sign
the
them,
checks.
and then you take them back with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
So I have a question here, you say, 3950 for the operating fund, the sewer treatment fund, and the joint drainage fund.
Yes.
But the current company has more than those funds that they're tracking.
We don't bill for your tax fund, we don't bill for your debt service fund, we don't have separate bills for those. Your current accounts, you've got, you know, your debt service, capital projects fund, your tax account, those are included. I consider.
Capital account is included.
It is. I consider this part of your bookkeeper's job. You know, I have to take care of those accounts. Now y'all have joint billing, so that's a whole separate, you gotta have different checks for that. That's a separate amount, and the same thing in your joint drainage and your wastewater plant, so.
And we do only get paychecks. Directors only get checks once a year.
Yes, ma'am, I got that, so.
Okay.
As far as the conversion goes, just so you guys know about behind the scenes of that, you know, if y'all go with us, some other companies are okay with taking the QuickBooks files and all the stuff and just kind of plugging it in and going with it. If I'm gonna put my name on something and turn it into an auditor, it's gonna be done by me. So I get every piece of paper, their boxes come to my office directly, I go through them piece by piece, very fun. But also that way I know what's going on in your district, so I know, this way, your auditor probably hasn't had time, where are we at, December. Your auditor probably hasn't had time to get back with the adjusting journal entries, so I would take your last year's ending balances, plug those in, and everything from this year on, every invoice, everything gets entered to me. So, and then I'll enter your adjusting trial balances and all that afterwards, once I get them from the auditor. We do come highly recommended from auditors, and I think that's a pretty high thing to say. We are also the bookkeepers for East Plantation, so I'm also very familiar with that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's all coming to our office as well, and I think that would make things actually easier on the whole process.
That's what I thought about with the accounts receivables, because apparently we've been having a problem with the receivables and the payables and the.
I did send an email maybe it was 2 weeks ago, over to your current bookkeeper, and I said, I don't have his invoices that you're saying y'all have sent me, so maybe I have the wrong email for that one. So.
It's about 9,000 either way, right?
No, theirs is 49.50, 5,000.
If I'm reading this right, that doesn't include the bond stuff.
That's only for new bond sales, so that would be a one-time fee. If y'all go out and you sell a bond, and this is if you didn't have a ban, so if you have a ban, then I charge you for a ban and a bond, and that would be a total of $1,500, one invoice, one time, when the bond sells.
So on a monthly basis right now, we'd still be getting the accounting taken care of on it, and it'd be $49.50. That sounds a lot better, because you get back up in the other range with other people.
Yeah, it includes your debt service payments. It's including everything. I feel like that's part of what we have to do. So, in order for us to get things done, your investment reports, all that, that's all included in these prices.
About $5,000 a month. Well, plus the fact we never know how much it's gonna be,
Right.
so.
Surprise.
So my question is, do we want to, and I know I asked a couple of you to get some feedback from other people if you had somebody else in mind, because I don't want to seem like this is me pushing this.
You're the one with the expertise in this field.
Well, I know, but last month apparently we had a bad meeting or something, but anyway. Do we want to vote on it, or do we want to go into executive session and talk about it and come back out and vote on it, or?
I think this is gonna save us some money, gonna save us money, and we get an
Considerable
easy
money.
report, we don't have all the fluff and that we have to sort through and figure out what's going on. I like that.
Okay.
Is there a time frame on making the change? In other words, if we were to vote tonight
When
and
it's preferable.
say we want to do you, does that mean that we start January 1st? Does it mean that we have to have a 90-day period? What's the deal?
I don't know your contract currently with municipal accounts, so you'd have to confirm that with your attorney when their termination is. Some is 30 days, some is 60 days. If they can get me the box, give me all the stuff, that's another problem. So they're very easy to work with now. I think, I've got some connections over there too, so once they know that we're hired, they'll start the process of sending it over to me. If they were to get it to me by January 1st, and y'all's meeting was the third week, then I will have time for that. I'll make time for that.
Okay.
Is it 30 days or 60?
You have a 30-day notice of termination in your current contract. My suggestion is generally to have the current bookkeeper prepare the report for next month, and then be able to work on the transition of that. Is that better?
Yeah, I think all of a sudden I have it back there. Go ahead, keep talking, I'll fix it. I'll try.
I was just saying that generally, most of my clients would I would say you want to have municipal accounts on board through something like January 31st.
Okay.
I would agree.
To get me some time for the transition.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Will you be pointing out any kind of, let's say, things that look suspicious whenever you're doing these things, or not things that are not normal, that kind of thing?
Yes, I would, and I will say, I'm not gonna talk bad about municipal accounts. They do a pretty good job, just, expensive, but when I get it, if there's something that I see, then that's something I point out. If there's additional transfers that I need to make, like this, there's some expenses that could be considered capital projects fund expenses versus debt service fund expenses, and those would be reimbursed at that time. But yeah, so if I saw something fishy, I would let y'all know.
Well, and just so you know, that's not really her job, that's really the auditor's job, but that's,
I know, but we have to we only get one time a month to really look at it.
right.
And so we need help spotting anomalies before they get out of hand.
Yes, and then also in your meetings as well, at that point, if y'all have an invoice that comes through that's not an ordinary invoice, and I'd be seeing, let's say if I'm going in, say, February, now I'm seeing 4 or 5 months of your current already what you're paying each month. Going forward in your bookkeeping reports, I point out, okay, also, this invoice is not your normal. You know, you normally pay your engineers, you normally pay your operator. This invoice is, you'll have something going on in the district, and I point that out as well.
$8,000 for the next month.
Oh, but that's only one.
Yeah.
We gotta add it, there's another one for
There's
2,
another- Yeah,
so.
I think we should do
Okay.
this as soon as possible.
I do too.
So,
Yeah.
do I have a motion to cancel the contract with, notify MAC that we're gonna cancel the contract with them and move forward to LNS District Services, or what do we wanna do?
I'll make the motion that we notify MAC that we're gonna cease business with them January 31st. And then we're gonna start February 1st with LNS.
I have a
What
second.
do for January?
Huh?
Oh, you said January 30th.
January
31st.
I second that motion.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
I brought copies of my contracts, just in
Okay.
case, so that I'd be prepared.
Okay,
And that way your attorney can look it over as well,
Okay.
and then y'all can, we can get it signed, figured out next week.
okay. I'll send it to you tomorrow, Davis.
Perfect, thanks, Julie. And we've actually already worked up a notice of termination, so we'll go ahead and get that out tomorrow.
Okay,
And we'll include in that notice a request to transfer the files to LNS.
okay. All right,
Okay?
easy from here. Okay, number 5, park maintenance matters. Did I ask you to put that on there? Or was that somebody else?
I put it on here because items just kind of keep coming up, and I thought it would be a good item to have on here, so,
Okay.
but
I
no
think I
action
actually
needed.
had something, but I can't remember what it was now.
Well, we had the dirt, we had the sprinkler system, and we had the old bathrooms.
And I did want to talk
Yeah,
about
but
the
most of that's
sprinkler
touched
system.
on in his
Yeah.
engineering stuff.
Yeah. I was thinking there was something there, but I can't remember what it was now. It'll come to me
There
somewhere.
was last month, get rid of that
Yeah,
restroom.
it'll come to me. Okay. Then I'm gonna go on to number 6, operators report. Oh,
There was I just want to make a note that I did stop a couple of people, well, one person playing golf out there since the last meeting.
okay.
Yeah, and he was asking that we put a note on the sign that it's not an active golf course. And
Well, there's no hole.
you know, that when he said, "What? It doesn't say you can't play golf out here." And I said, "Well, you should assume that if there's kids playing out here and there's people walking their dogs, you don't hit balls out."
You start drinking early in the morning, you lose that control you're on.
Anyway,
It happens.
I don't know if we want to do anything in it, but we can't make a sign that just says, "Don't do anything."
What are we gonna have? I was gonna say, we're gonna have
big
a
is
12-foot tall
How big's the
sign.
sign gotta
Yeah,
be now?
if we do anything,
Don't
maybe
burn
we
down the
put
park.
something that
Might
says.
start
I
looking
think it's,
at
doesn't
what you
it,
can
It's
do.
not in
doesn't
there.
it say something about
Walking.
safety?
Yeah, that, but if anything, if we did anything, somewhere we could put up a couple of signs that said it's not an active golf course. That's, if we want to even do that. I don't know if we
Because
want
2 people were playing golf, 2 people out of 1,200, and we told them, so.
Well, the problem with it is, it's like I told him, the problem is, because he was telling me, you know, I watch real close, I don't hit the ball if there's somebody down there. I said, but the problem is, there's 47 people saw you doing that, and tomorrow there'll be 3 more out here.
Right.
You know?
That's true.
Yeah.
About the baseball player,
Huh?
somebody's playing hardball out there yet. You
I
get
haven't
hit
seen
with a
that.
baseball, you know?
Oh, there's, yeah, but they're, what, 5 years old, the ones that are doing it?
Oh, you're talking about the little kids that are out there playing?
No, I mean, if you had
Oh.
big kids playing hardball out there, it's a nice place to
Well,
do
there's-
it.
No, I enjoy seeing the little kids play
Oh, I
out
do
there.
too, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
So,
you're talking about risk of
Yeah.
being hit with a ball.
yeah.
Hey, just so everybody knows that if you see somebody, tell them don't do it.
All
There's
right.
somebody on a four-wheeler that's been out there lately also.
Yeah,
just
somebody, I
can't
got a
catch it.
notice on that the other day, but I didn't, for some reason, I didn't get the text for 2 or 3 hours after it was sent.
I haven't been able to catch him. I know people that have seen him on there, but by the time I get over there, he's gone.
Is it a green?
I don't know what color it is.
That's what it was last time, and he lived over on that.
No, it was a motorcycle.
Oh, he had a motorcycle.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I hadn't heard about that, but I've been out of contact, out of touch. Okay, so are we good with park?
Yep.
Park maintenance matters? Okay, operators report?
All right. Good evening, board. Before you have the November report, we have total connections is 977 with 15 vacancies. Revenues totaling at $81,611.98. Fuel consumption 7,385,000 gallons. We have our billing period there, and we have total pumpage at 7,817,000 gallons. It's a 95% accountability. 2 leaks were repaired in the month. 6 bacteriological samples taken, all came back good. Below we have our wastewater treatment plant numbers for the month. Everything's running within parameters, no excursions. We're currently operating at 53% of our permitted capacity. And down below we have our age revenues and our consumption and accountability charts reflecting that. Summary of-
Our 120 days is $11. I can live with that.
Yeah, that's good.
Our summary of jobs completed, we had the 2 leaks that we mentioned in our report, the one on Robert E. Lee and Manassas Park. Wastewater treatment plant and water plants are all fully winterized, ready to go, just in case we have any another winter freeze. We mentioned the golf course. Golf course is complete. And like I said, I took some pictures before the meeting. I can show you if you haven't seen it
It's
yet.
complete as far as what?
It's demolished, cleaned out, brushes
The
gone.
bathrooms.
Yeah, I just have a question out of curiosity. Is there a reason that this pump 3 is doing the lion's share of the work, like 7,000 gallons and 700 only out of 2?
Because of the ongoing renovations.
That's
the rehab project that
because I
we're
would
doing.
think they would be
So I don't.
somewhat utilized.
We try to run it about once or twice a week, let it take over. We actually made some adjustments today. They've done what they can with the electrical upgrades, with, now they're waiting for other parts to come in. So we made some adjustments today to get the equal share.
Oh, okay.
So until the parts come in, then we'll let number 3 kick
Well,
in.
that answered my question, that's why you're doing it. I was just curious, it seemed like it was overloading one, and
Yeah.
that might be
We
asking
run
for
it,
trouble.
like I said, 2 or 3 times, and we try to just so the water doesn't turn stagnant. It's such a
Yeah.
huge tank.
Hmm.
And Mario, can make sure that every month I get a summary of, report of jobs that have been done with pictures.
Okay.
That way we can get the newsletter out on a regular basis.
Not a problem.
I've got a couple questions. One, what does winterizing the facilities mean? Is that making sure the generators are ready to go?
That, and then we put basically the noodles and all the water lines and central lines that carry water that have potential of freezing. We winterize them, we insulate them.
Wrap them with
We put
insulation?
heaters inside the tanks, inside our chlorine rooms, just to keep everything up.
Okay. And then, I noticed that the permit expiration date for the wastewater plant still is September 20th. Do we have a new,
Oh, that's on us. So we just got approval, the public comment period for the second publication was just ended, so we're just waiting on it. As long as you're in the process of getting the permit, there's no hard expiration date. We started it well before, the, term limit of it on the 2022. We're just waiting for the new one.
okay,
I saw that too earlier, but I saw the other part, it was pending.
all right.
Yep. Okay, do I have a motion to accept the operator's report?
I make a motion we accept the operator's report.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Engineers report.
Alrighty, we just touched base on the wastewater discharge permit, like I said, we're just waiting for the final permit to come in. Nothing new on any of the other items for the permit. For design projects, East Ditch, no update, still waiting on FEMA, I'm sure things are gonna slow down because of the holidays. East Ditch maintenance, again, the proposed cleaning will be in February for that quarterly. Wastewater treatment facility, that design is underway, hoping to request authorization of bid in January and have bid for you guys in February. Holly Springs, I still think that's out, I don't know if they made a decision. They meet Wednesday.
They meet this week.
Yeah, so we gave them some more information, hopefully that resolved what they were looking for. Dishwater drainage study, we will have that report in January. My team's wrapping it up, it'll come to me for review and we'll have it at your regular scheduled meeting. Same with trying to wrap up sanitary, the rehab phase 2 and the manhole rehabilitation plans. Charleston Park irrigation, the contractor is finishing up replacing the sprinkler heads and fixing the line breaks. They are working on the electrical controls. Rick, you had a
Yeah,
question?
I had questions. I drove out there today, and I went out there 2 or 3 weeks ago. A lot of the heads there's no sprinkler heads out there, they're just the hole where they're supposed to be. And I saw where the electric controls, there's 2 boxes out there, they haven't been touched in a year or 2, they're just laying there. Are they gonna be working on those?
Electrical boxes, where are those ones at specifically?
Control box.
Let me show you the picture I took today.
There's a few of the names that they had to take out.
So here's the first one, this was right, on the, this is the one, this is several of them look just like that. There's
Okay.
nothing, they've had leaves in them, there's nothing going on, that's the electric box, it hasn't been touched.
Okay,
There's-
they're not using the original electrical,
But
they're,
these are Toro, so
they're-
they're not using,
yeah, no,
I didn't
they're-
see any
they're,
new ones.
they're that's what they're working on. They're doing a solar powered panels
okay.
that will be programmed
Oh,
to
okay.
operate. Yeah.
And are they gonna be around these same areas, or?
I don't know if they have the exact locations. I'm gonna meet with them at the first of the year and get everything squared away.
So when do you anticipate that job to be complete? I mean, we've been talking about it since, I think, August.
Yeah, I mean, they're wrapping everything up. They were supposed to have replaced most of the heads, so I'm not sure if that area may just be a black zone where there's not one needed or what's going on.
Well, when I drove
specifically.
down there today, when you're first coming into River Plantation and you come through the bridge,
Mhm.
if you veer off into the golf course, there's 2 big sinkholes. I wanted to show you those. There's 2 big ones there that probably could use some of the dirt.
Okay.
But then right there is, I see the first orange flag with the sprinkler systems on. And I tried to line them up, there's not a lot of them marked anymore. They used to, 2 months ago when I went out, they all had orange flags everywhere, and now there's only just a few.
I'd imagine they were pulling them once they replaced the heads,
Oh, okay.
so hopefully that is.
So
that
this
is-
picture that I showed you is just that, it doesn't look like there's a head or anything in it, there's just and it's on that first part. It's
Okay.
before you get to Shiloh, or right after Shiloh.
Okay. Yeah, I actually need to come back out here tomorrow, so I'll be out and about tomorrow.
And they're gonna do the whole, all of Charleston, of course, right? Not just when you enter.
No, they were
They're
gonna
gonna
do
do all the way
one
around,
through
the
nine,
whole,
yes.
okay, all right.
Storm sewer phase 1 rehab, the contractors continue to work with the district. They have pulled off, they had an emergency job come up, they contacted us about. They'll be back beginning of January, but they did have pay application number 1, we amount of $993, $194, that we do recommend payment for. That pay application was attached. That's gonna be the first big chunk of one you'll see. Water plant number 2, electrical upgrades, construction underway. As they mentioned, they've pretty much gotten everything done they can get until they get the motor control center in, which will probably be middle of next year, to be honest. That's just how long these things take. 10-year CIP, we're gonna be updating with all the completed projects. We'll have that for you at your January meeting as well. And then from last month, fire department track, I did meet with the fire department chief about the location and sent their information over to their architect. They're supposedly working on a mock SketchUp, but I have not heard anything out.
Did you meet with them on your own, or did you have somebody else meet with you?
Yeah, I just met with them. on
Okay,
the phone.
okay, because I know 2 meetings ago, it was discussed that Julie and I were supposed to go and talk to the fire chief, and I
I think
recall-
my understanding was to get them to, I was gonna meet with them first to
Okay.
kind of talk with them about location, and then they were gonna do kind of a markup, like a mock design for you guys, and then bring you guys
Because
in.
we haven't decided yet where the thing's gonna be, right?
Have you decided?
We have kind of like what we think would be the best location, but it should be fairly quick for them to put kind of a footprint so that you guys could see it. I didn't want everybody kind of self-imagining something, because even when I was talking to them, they're like, oh, we need 4 acres. And I drew out what 4.
Well, that kind of was like doubled what they told me before.
And I drew out what 4 acres looked like, and he was like, oh, we don't need that much space. And then he was like, I think it was 2 acres. So I drew out 2 acres, and he was like, oh, that's way too big too. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
So is this kind of behind the CIA, between the CIA and
Yes.
the golf course?
Yes.
I mean, the
Country.
club?
Yeah, in
Okay.
between that area
Okay.
was kind of the best location, out of the floodplain, easy access. And they really didn't need kind of a circle drive or anything. Their goal was to do 2 bays. When we did discuss with them, you know, we were talking big picture stuff, and I did talk to them, you know, just knowing historically the flooding you guys deal with. I was like, do you guys have any sort of watercrafts or things like that? This may be a good area. And I think kind of sparked in their mind that, yeah, we actually have some stuff that we need to keep. So there may be the potential of 2 really long bays, and then they kind of have like a 3-room bunkhouse. But like I said, I'm waiting for them to give me an actual sketch, so that I can bring you guys into the loop, and so we're not just imagining something on different scales. And then 740 Stone Mountain, I met with the homeowner, discussed exactly the repairs as far as his garden and things like that. I took pictures and I put together a very specific email to the contractor. I'm going to meet the contractor guys out here and monitor the work to make sure it's one of them.
When is that supposed to be?
It's gonna be in the new year. I tried to get it this week and it just didn't happen.
And what about I think it was about the ditch clearing? I thought we were gonna do that every quarter now.
Yes, that's the one that we're gonna do in February. So it just happened, and so February would be the first quarter of next year.
Okay. Just when I look at it, all that's in there now is dirt, there's no growth right now, so it's pretty simple to do.
Yeah.
But I'm just wondering if we really need to do it twice in the winter time.
Yeah, I think that'll be the key is when we get to February, do we feel like we need to do it, or do we want to skip? I think in the summer, you may end up doing instead of every 3 months, maybe every 2 months, and then the winter.
Yes.
But I think the great thing is the price we got from All Seasons was worthwhile to kind of figure it out a little bit. So.
Question.
Yes, sir.
With respect to the golf course, Charleston Park, I know in our conversation earlier, you asked, what green is this on? Well, I don't play golf.
I was gonna say, I don't play
I don't
golf, so
know
I
either.
wouldn't know, you know.
So, I was thinking here, if someone's out there on that piece of property, 72 acres, and there's an emergency, and they have to call an ambulance for whatever reason, what are they gonna give them in the way of where I'm located? And there's no designation on different areas of the segments of the park that you might wanna think about. Just an idea, does designate certain areas with a particular identity that you communicate to the emergency district here.
But they wouldn't know where that was either.
Well, you would communicate with a map.
Yeah.
That's how they find addresses, but there must be how do you get around into a park that size or emergency services? And that's a question I have. I know you don't have the answer now, but I think it's something that gives some thought to.
Most people still use the old designation, section 1, 2, 3, 4, up through 8.
See, I always do between this street and this street.
Yeah, you have the streets.
Well, there's some areas, there's no streets there. You go back over on the other side of River Plantation Drive and get back around in that area, there's no streets.
Got Old Hickory, Ravensworth, Rockland.
Well, I don't see it from where I'm.
The issue does become with first responders is they're gonna require streets, even if you say
Right. Yeah.
Red Park,
Right.
they are not gonna have that in their system.
Well, whatever you could, what do first responders do in that case in park locations?
I can tell you from experience, when you call 911, they're gonna say, what's the nearest cross street? That's gonna be their first question.
We had the issue on the current golf course right behind my house. A guy had a heart attack, and somebody called 911, and they said River Plantation Golf Course. So the ambulance went to the clubhouse, which was nowhere near it, because the people that are calling it in, no matter what we do, they're just going to say it's on the golf course. And I don't know what we can do to improve that, because it's not us that's gonna be calling these in. It's
Right.
gonna be who's ever out there at that particular time saying, here I am, well, where are you? And they make it a
I
street.
think if they ever get a station put here, I think those guys will soon know the designations as well as we do.
They're gonna have
Well, that-
ambulances.
Yes, they are gonna have an ambulance.
There
back
could be
there.
a coordination with law enforcement and things like that if you wanted to put some emergency phones along the trails. You see
I
those.
think that's an issue, it'll take care of itself once they're on site.
I'm sure Rob can provide them with a big map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
I have a question that's related.
Okay.
So, I wasn't here at the other meeting, so we're talking about a station, this is gonna be on Charleston.
Yes,
So my question is, apparently that does not affect our bond because of
Correct.
the usage,
correct.
and that's because,
It's for the benefit of the neighborhood, of the community,
Okay.
because right now they're having to rely on the city of Conroe
right,
to respond to calls before they can get here. And just because of the,
logistics.
yeah, they wanna have a station here.
Right, and I was just asking for
Yeah.
information, so
Yeah.
because I understand when we first moved here, that's when the golf course property said you can't be here anymore, if I
Right.
remember correctly.
Yep,
Okay,
yeah, they lost their lease, and
so,
instead of fighting with, and just in talking with the chief over years of time, they lost their lease with that, and instead of litigating it, they just wanna move on
Right.
and just be done.
okay, just so I was clear at the bond.
And it would benefit us
Absolutely.
more than them, so, yeah.
And to keep our insurance rates down. I don't think my insurance company's ever realized that they're not here anymore.
Yeah,
Because the rates went down when they were here, and then the golf course got, uppity with them. And I don't think my insurance company's ever figured out that they moved.
well, actually, they're gonna start manning this one again until we get that new station built.
Okay.
Good.
They are actually gonna start
So
manning it again.
that'll just maintain the lower rate for us, is what it'll do.
Are we building the station or?
They are.
They are.
They are. We're gonna get, I maybe need to be corrected, but I think we're going to, we discussed a long-term lease with them. We would still own the land, because we can't sell it, so we would still own the land, they would just own the building.
What about all the utilities to the infrastructure as far as the power, sewer,
That's-
gas, is that on us?
Should be on
Same,
them.
yep, same as everybody else, you build a house, it's,
Okay,
yep,
thumbs up on it.
so, okay. All right, motion to accept the engineer's report?
I'll make a motion, we accept the engineer's report.
Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, authorize the annual eminent domain report.
Do we need
Was
to-
that on my-
Okay, state law requires that you file an annual report with the comptroller documenting your eminent domain authority, and you set that authority. We're just asking for you to authorize us to file that report on the district's behalf.
Okay. Somebody make a motion to authorizing them to file that report?
Pay that bill.
I make a motion, we authorize them, the lawyers to, do the annual eminent domain report.
Okay. Do I have a second?
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, if those of you that came in would sign,
I
just sign.
have something else I want to bring
Oh,
up too.
okay.
In the
Sorry.
last meeting, or 2 meetings ago, I think Mark Robin asked me to get a thing on signs to put up here 3 signs about our regular monthly meeting. Carl got
Okay.
one quote
Okay,
for metal signs.
okay,
It was $900 for 3 signs. So I went to Signs Etc., and it's a metal frame, kind of a cardboard thing. Theirs was $218.
is that kinda like down at the CIA, like the CIA
Yeah,
has?
it's
Okay.
kind of a metal sign. And then Fast Signs also did it's a vinyl printed sign. It has a metal frame, and you just slip it in, slip it out.
Okay.
And 3 signs they're really nice signs. Theirs was $581
Okay.
for 3 signs. And if we get the signs, there's gonna be 3 of them. We'd have to put one at the front entrance, I guess, before the bridge, one by the C-store back there, and then one here. That there again, we're gonna have to go out and put them in every time, and
I was gonna say, I mean,
Do we
I'm gonna
really
ask the
need it?
audience, how many of you saw it on Facebook or next door? I posted last week, Carl posted today, or when did I post Friday? So, I mean,
Do we really need a sign? I mean, we're talking, the cheapest one's gonna be
I don't know what's wrong with the way we do it now.
Well, those are awfully expensive. They used to use those little real
I think they'd
estate
be
signs
vandalized.
that you could
oh,
put
yeah,
on the wires.
they probably won't
Those are
last
cheap.
2 days.
No, and, you know, somebody, then one of us will have to go out there and put them all in.
Take 'em back
Take them
down.
back up, and it's the day of, and
Carl had-
I think people would have a problem with saying, I didn't know about it till the day of, and
Yeah.
so.
I say we just try to keep doing it the way we're doing it now. I'll do it like a week before, and if you wanna do it the day of or the day before, we just do that.
Okay.
So, everybody okay with
I
that?
think we more than meet the requirements.
Yeah, yeah, and we put it on the video, so, if the, and, how many views did you have this last one?
80, what did I say, 85, 86?
Something like that,
Yeah.
so. So somebody saw it,
Yeah.
so, somebody saw it, we gotta,
So when is our
Hold
next
on.
meeting?
the next meeting is January, the 18th, 17th,
Going back to the regular schedule.
going back to the regular schedule, yep.
January 18th.
18.
That is the third.
No, it's
that
the
is
third, it's the
Thursday.
25th,
Oh, the 25th.
Fourth
25th.
Thursday.
January
Oh,
25th at 6:30 PM. And we do have executive session, to talk, Davis, so,
Okay.
okay. You wanna hang around for executive? Maybe you can hang around if you want to, just, I need some input on something. Okay, I'm gonna put this here, if you will sign it if you're here and you didn't sign it previously, so we can get a thing of who all was here. Here's your checks. I think I got it. Okay, we're back in session at 8:03 PM on Monday, December 18th. And the next item on the agenda is pending business.
Jay, I got a question regarding the trees and landscape repairs that we voted on and charged for Natchez. Are we following up on that? Our due diligence would be to install those trees and such?
Well, we're waiting for the sprinklers to get, I thought our thing was to wait for the sprinklers because they're gonna need water.
Fair
So
enough.
much water at the,
That's fine. Fair enough.
that was my impression of what we were doing,
Okay. All right.
Makes sense.
so.
Makes sense.
All right.
That's all I got.
Anything else?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Not here.
A second.
Till January 25th.
Yep, next meeting, regular meeting is January 25th at 6:30 PM. We got a second to the adjourn, all in favor?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right,
Merry
that's it,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.